today. And on that day, the World's Pan-African Women's Day was established. The celebration of this day reinforces the commitment to and the call for Pan-African unity and establishing Pan-Africanism as against anti-imperialism and emphasizing the right to self-determination of all oppressed people and nations and the end of all exploitation of humans by nation, class, and gender. As we reflect on this year's AAPRP's theme, Women, the backbone of our struggle, join the movement, commemorate Pan-African Women's Day. May we leave this gathering energized to continue with the struggle and fight for the liberation of all people, not just women. We will have two panels on women's role on the Pan-African struggle and the activating of women to join the movement. The panelists in these two panels come from a variety of locations and organizations. We have representation, for instance, from the Sahel region in Africa, Kenya, Guinea, Congo, and Sudan, and a number of organizations such as the very own Pan-African Women's Organization in Azania, among others. The discussion in these sessions will not just be a rhetoric, but a clarion call for women to continue rising to the occasion. During the sessions, please feel free to utilize the different interpretation channels for the language of your preference, and also the chat for comments and the Q&A section for questions. The team will be online to be able to pick up your comments and your questions as they come through. At this point, I would like to wish all of us a fruitful and insightful deliberation, and happy Pan-African Women's Day, Adhere to Africa. Now, to begin the program, we will provide an overview of the formation and objectives of our Women's Wing, the All-African Women's Revolutionary Union, whose inception is tied to the broader liberation struggles nationally and globally. Comrades, allow me to welcome our sister, Ivana, who will be taking us through this introduction. Thank you. Over to you, Ivana.
Peace, y'all. My name is Ivana. I am a work-study member located in the Western Hemisphere United States chapter. The All-African Women's Revolutionary Union and All-African People's Revolutionary Party are steeped in the legacy of our ancestors who carried the struggle for Pan-Africanism. We uplift and recognize our deceased ancestors, the AAWRU's first union coordinator, Maisha Washington, our strong revolutionary leader, Mawina Kouate, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Touré, Emile Carr Cabral, and Kwame Ture. Their legacy truly shaped the vehicle of this independent and permanent political party and our broader liberation struggle. To date, the All-African Revolutionary Women's Union has been in existence for 45 years. Upon its inception, the union has executed its main objectives at full capacity, which are work to recruit and retain more African women and integrate them in the struggle to build AAPRP towards African unity, forge a stronger bond between African women and men through political education and ideological debates on the condition of African women and their role in the revolution in Africa, while working together to combat all forms of exploitation and oppression and the construction of scientific socialism. Establish links through partisan alliances with our women revolutionary organizations that lead with the national, class, and gender analysis. Over the years, the AAWRU have put a significant dent in the struggle by championing and supporting the Million Man March, helping to organize the Nation of Islam, and speaking on stage in Washington, D.C. with other world leaders. Led the campaign against the U.S. travel ban on Libya, North Africa, organizing and leading several delegations to Libya in the mid to late 1980s. Led delegations to Cuba, Venezuela, Azania, South Africa, Guinea, and Ghana, establishing new AAPRP chapters in West Africa, Azania, South Africa, Canada, and the Caribbean, and working with international alliances and brother-sister organizations such as the American Indian Movement, Pan-African Congress of Azania, African National Congress, PAIGC, JAAC from Guinea-Bissau, to name a few. The All-African Revolutionary Women's Union was born out of the political and ideological struggle for the liberation of all Africans and all indigenous peoples during hundreds of years of colonialism, neocolonialism, and imperialism, and countries where African women have always played a critical and decisive role. The role of women in the struggle is essential. We recognize that it is only through the full participation of African women in the struggle for unity and liberation of Africa that we can imagine rebuilding Africa into a complete society where women, men, the young, the elderly, the marginalized gender, and everyone in between experience the sweetness of freedom and the flourishing of Pan-Africanism. Forward to the AAWRU, women have a place in this fight. We will now be getting into our first panel, which will be expanding on where women stand with this urgent and vast struggle for our full liberation.
Greetings all. I'm Daria, a work-study member of the All-African People's Revolutionary Party and the All-African Women's Revolutionary Union, residing on occupied Piscataway territory on Turtle Island, commonly known as Maryland in the United States. I will be facilitating our first panel, Women's Role in the Pan-African Struggle. On this panel, we have 3 revolutionary organizers who will share more about their organizations and answer your questions about how women struggle for our collective liberation at home, the African continent. Our panelists are Madame Mariatou from Femeze Gonji pour les sauvegardes de la patrie, also known as FESPA in Niger. Spongile Nolovu from Pan-African Women's Organization in Azania, and Emma Kwaji from Banat Power Initiative of South Sudan. Madame Mariatou will now introduce herself via video.
Bonjour, je suis Madame Abdou Mariatou, coordinatrice des femmes engagées pour la sauvegarde de la patrie, FESPA Niger. Et dans cette lutte que nos 3 pays de l'AES sont en train de mener, il ne faut pas que les femmes soient en marche. Il faudrait que nos sœurs femmes puissent se dire qu'il faut qu'il y ait la paix dans un pays pour qu'elles puissent exister. Dans cette lutte, il faudrait qu'elles soient à l'avant-garde. Nous, femmes, quand on se met dans une lutte, c'est la réussite qui est assurée. Et cette lutte, on ne la fait pas pour nous, c'est pour nos enfants, c'est pour nos petits-enfants. Il faudrait toutes, la main, qu'on soit ensemble, derrière, pour soutenir nos 3 présidents qui, aujourd'hui, sont en train d'écrire l'histoire. Nous sommes en train de changer l'ordre mondial, même pas africain. Et alors, nous, femmes, il faudrait que les gens sachent que c'est nous qui étions à l'avant de cette lutte. Nous appelons nos sœurs de la diaspora pour venir nous soutenir. On en a besoin. Soutien moral, soutien financier, soutien technique aussi, parce que nous avons besoin de stratégies pour venir à bout de ces impérialistes qui, chaque jour, essaient de nous déstabiliser.
Thank you, Madame Mariatou. Can you take 5 minutes to tell us more about your organization, FESPA? Why was it formed and what are the objectives?
Et merci, bonsoir à toutes et à tous. Et je suis vraiment heureuse de participer à la conférence panafricaine. Et nous, femmes engagées, nous sommes des structures féminines, femmes engagées pour la sauvegarde de la patrie qui se sont réunies pour créer ce réseau. Et il y a eu un changement de régime le 26 juillet. Et justement, c'est l'anniversaire, les 2 ans de changement de régime, parce qu'on a souffert pendant plus de 35 ans avec les régimes démocratiques et où les femmes ont été marginalisées, les enfants n'ont pas retrouvé leur place, il n'y a que des prédateurs et des gens qui étaient à la solde des impérialistes. Donc, au changement de régime le 26 juillet, les femmes se sont dit il ne faut pas rester à marge parce que nous avons eu des gens, des héroïnes, le Yenega est là, Kassaïsi du Mali et Saraounia Mangou du Niger qui se sont levés pour se battre. Alors, pourquoi à notre tour, on doit jouer notre partition en rentrant dans la scène et en étant devant les marches, les revendications. Nous étions les premières à aller à la place de l'escadrille où nous étions restés pour pouvoir faire partir les troupes françaises qui étaient basées au niveau de l'escadrille. Nous étions là-bas jour et nuit et nous avons préparé, nous avons fait scandé des slogans pour faire partir ces troupes parce qu'on a compris que ces troupes françaises qui étaient là pendant plus de 12 ans, ils étaient sur notre territoire et alors que le terrorisme continuait à tuer nos frères, nos sœurs, nos maris. En réalité, ils n'étaient pas là pour nous aider, pour nous appuyer, pour finir avec le terrorisme. Au contraire, ils étaient là pour bien remplacer le terrorisme et spolier nos ressources naturelles et nous rendant de plus en plus pauvres et dépendants. Alors, on a dit, oh, il faut que ça s'arrête. Nous étions là-bas, nous avons pu les chasser et aujourd'hui, nous avons l'entière responsabilité de nos ressources naturelles. Nous avons, après l'escadrille, retrouvé des partenaires stratégiques qui aujourd'hui sont en train d'appuyer les pays de l'AES. Je parle du Niger, mais bien sûr, des autres pays aussi de l'AES, à savoir le Burkina Faso et le Mali, parce que nous formons aujourd'hui un même espace. Et pour ça, les femmes même de l'AES se sont mis ensemble à travers des réseaux et des plateformes pour pouvoir défendre le peuple, pour que aujourd'hui nos ressources naturelles puissent profiter à tout le monde. Au lieu que nous soyons les derniers de la planète, alors que nous avons toutes les ressources qu'on cherche au monde, nous sommes les derniers. Il faut changer ce paradigme. Il faudrait bien gérer ces ressources et les mettre à disposition avec les partenaires qui nous considèrent et qui savent notre responsabilité et qui sont là pour des partenariats gagnant-gagnant. C'est pour ça notre structure Femmes engagées pour la sauvegarde de la patrie, nous sommes directement rentrés dans le renforcement de capacité des jeunes. Nous sommes une structure de plus de 1200 femmes et nous avons formé des milliers de femmes et de jeunes dans les AGR, les activités génératrices de revenus pour que chaque femme ou chaque jeune, partout où tu es, que tu aies un métier à faire. Nous n'allons plus rester demander à quelqu'un de venir nous aider. Nous allons nous-mêmes, avec notre force, produire ce que nous allons consommer et pouvoir les transformer. Pourquoi? Parce que c'est nos produits qu'ils prennent pour aller les transformer et revenir nous les vendre cher. Non, il faut que ça s'arrête. Nous allons nous-mêmes transformer et nos produits et nos matières premières sur place pour que nos pays puissent être développés. À partir de l'AES, nous voulons que le développement de l'Afrique puisse être amorcé. Donc, c'est ça les femmes engagées qu'on a créé juste après le 26 juillet 2023. Aujourd'hui, nous avons 2 ans et les résultats sont là. Rien qu'avant-hier, nous avons construit sur fonds propres. Les femmes ont fait des cotisations. Il y a un village juste à côté de notre capitale où les enfants prenaient les cours dans des sécos, des pailles. Il y a le soleil et les intempéries. Nous avons cotisé. Nous sommes en train de construire 2 classes pour ces jeunes enfants. Ils sont au nombre de 79 qui, pendant plus de 5 ans, sont dans des conditions très difficiles d'apprentissage. Et nous pensons que l'éducation d'une nation commence par les enfants et pour le développement soit assuré, il faut donner une éducation de qualité. Bien sûr, nos moyens sont minimes, sont très minimes, même si on peut le dire, mais il y a la volonté et la foi pour pouvoir faire en sorte que nos pays puissent émerger.
Wow, incredible. Thank you so much, Madam Mariatu. It's really great to hear also about how women across the Sahel in both Mali and Burkina Faso are uniting to fight French colonialism. So thank you so much for being here. It's great to hear from you on the ground. We are now going to move to Spongile Nolobu, their introduction via video.
Izwe lethu ma-Afrika. My name is Mafrika Sibongile Ndlovu. I'm honored to be here speaking about commemoration of Pan-African Women's Organization, which is PAWO. The Pan-African Women's Organization Day is commemorated annually in July, marking a critical milestone in the struggle for gender equality and the liberation of African women across the continent. It was established in July 1962 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. PAWO is the oldest women's organization on the African continent and has played a pivotal role in advancing the rights of African women and their full participation in the political, economic, and social development of Africa. Historical significance. It was founded by women from various liberation movements and independent African states. PAWO emerged during a period of intense anti-colonial resistance. It served as a unified platform for African women to collaborate across borders in support of decolonization, peace, and gender justice. The organization contributed significantly to the dismantling of colonialism and apartheid, while also advocating for women's empowerment in newly independent African nations. In 2025, PAWO celebrates 63 years of dedicated activism, resilience, and transformative leadership in the face of oppression and inequality. Core objectives. PAWO was founded with the aim of uniting African women to strengthen solidarity and collective action, promoting gender equality and empowerment of women in all spheres of life, combating colonialism, apartheid, and imperialism, particularly through the support of liberation struggles, preserving and promoting African cultures while defending the dignity and rights of women, advocating for peace, development, and democracy across the continent. These goals remain central to PAWO's vision in the 21st century as the organization continues to tackle new challenges, including economic marginalization, gender-based violence, and underrepresentation in leadership. Celebrating the women of Azania. On this important occasion, we honor the Black women of Azania, resilient, courageous, and relentless in their fight against apartheid, patriarchy, and economic injustice. From the fearless women of the 1956 Anti-Pass March to present-day grassroots organizers, educators, cultural workers, and political leaders. Black South African women have been at the forefront of revolutionary change. We pay tributes to icons such as Veronica Zondeni Sobukwe, the late wife of the founder of the Pan-Africanist Congress, Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, and Mamfengu No College, Machi Pape, who happened to be killed in Katlehong around Gauteng. Mam Nomvo Boy, the first woman to be imprisoned for political struggles, and countless unnamed heroines who paved the way for future generations. Their sacrifices laid the foundation for a more just society. Even as many African women today continue to navigate to navigate system of dual oppression, racial and gender-based. This year's commemoration shines a light on the often overlooked contributions of Black South African women to armed liberation. Among the most powerful examples of this legacy are the group of 12 Abla woman warriors, young women who in 1978 left South Africa to undergo military training in Uganda, Libya, Tanzania, under the Pan-Africanist Congress Armed Wing, which is APLA, Azanian People's Liberation Army. These courageous women trained in the face of extreme adversity, spending 2 grueling years under the brutal regime of President Idi Amin, one of the most oppressive dictators in African history. Despite political instability, lack of resources, and harsh conditions, they remained committed to the mission of dismantling apartheid and liberating the people. Their story is a testament of the resilience, political clarity, and revolutionary discipline of African women who refused to be confined to traditional roles. Instead of taking up arms to fight for justice, freedom, and self-determination, their sacrifices are part of the broader tapestry of Africa's liberation, often overshadowed by male-dominated military histories. 2 grueling years under the brutal regime of President Idi Amin, one of the most oppressive dictators in African history. Despite political instability, lack of resources, and harsh conditions, they remained committed.
All right. We are really grateful to Spongile Nalobu for going into that in-depth history of Pan-African Women's Organization. Unfortunately, she is not able to be here in person today. So we are going to move forward to Emma Kwaje from the Nat Power Initiative of South Sudan. You can go ahead and introduce yourself, Emma.
Thank you so much. My name is Emma Kwaje, and I am from South Sudan. I am the founder and executive director of Banat Power Initiative, and as well as the country director for the Young Women of Africa. So, Banat Power Initiative is an organization that is dedicated to empowering girls and young women in South Sudan. And also, as we commemorate this Pan-African Women's Day 2025, it's a day that underscores the vital theme that women, the backbone of our struggle. As we all know, since the inception of the 1962 Pan-African Women's Day, it has provided a very crucial platform to recognize, to celebrate, and also to interrogate the immense contribution that of young or of African women, and also the marginalized genders in our ongoing struggle for liberation, as well as socialism and Pan-Africanism. From the shores of the Atlantic to the heart of the African continent, we all know that women have been the driving force behind movements that seeks for justice and equality. In the context of South Sudan, and also maybe also Sudan, because South Sudan got her independence 2011, and we were all Sudan. So in the context in both South Sudan and Sudan, women have historically been at the forefront of resistance against oppression. And there are so many figures like Rebecca Nyandeng, who is currently the Vice President for Gender and Youth, who is the wife to our former leader, Dr. John Garang, and so many other women. So these figures who stood are firm against colonial forces, and also countless women who participated in the revolution, they always remind us of the courage and the resilience that women consistently display. Their stories they are not only makers of our history, but they are also sources of inspiration as we navigate all the challenges that we have for today. However, despite all these remarkable contributions that women in South Sudan and Sudan continue to have, they always face significant challenges. And the impact of the conflict, we all know, and it has left a very deep scars on our communities, and also it has created so many issues such as poverty, instability, gender inequality, and all these patriarchal structures persist. Often, it places women in very precarious positions where their rights and their voices are marginalized. So gender-based violence remains a very serious issue, with many women experiencing this violence in their homes or the communities, and even in public spaces. And also, there are very limited access to education, which has further compounds these challenges, with many girls unable to pursue their dreams due to socioeconomic barriers and also cultural norms that prioritize male education over female. In some of our communities in South Sudan, you'll find the community, when a lady have seen her period, even though she's 12 years or 13 years, they put a flag in the house to show a red flag to show everyone in the community that there is a lady who is already ripe in this home. So any person who wants to marry that lady will come. And then you find so many families will come. They negotiate. The person who comes with more cows and more money and all is the person that wins and marries. But even you as the girl, you don't know that person. You end up getting married to that person. So these challenges, moreover, this economic situation, it continues to hinder women's progress, and many women are unable to access resources, land, and even financial services, which are very critical for their empowerment and also their independence. These are not just statistics, but they represent the lived realities of countless women who strive for a better future. It is very crucial that we apply a comprehensive nation-class gender analysis to these challenges, which can be by understanding the root causes of these issues. And as we advocate for meaningful change that addresses the unique experiences of women in our society. As at Banat Power Initiative, we are very committed to empowering girls and young women through targeted education, leadership training, and also community engagement. Our programs aim to foster engagement, and it aims to foster confidence, resilience, and also a sense of urgency among women in South Sudan, because we believe that when women are empowered, the entire community strives. And when we empower a lady or when we empower a girl, it doesn't only change her prospects or not only her alone, but it also transforms the communities and it also transforms the nation. So moreover, all of us, we must recognize the shared struggles of women across borders. The recent uprisings situation in Sudan and also in South Sudan have showcased the incredible strength and the determination of women who have taken to the streets to demand justice and accountability. Their voices must be amplified in a collective fight for equality as they pave the way for future generations. So for us to achieve a lasting change, we need to, we propose just a very just and revolutionary Pan-Africanist solution that prioritize women's rights. This includes advocating for policies that support grassroots movements and also ensuring that women have access to education and also economic opportunities, and also fostering solidarities across all our nations. Because I believe that together we can dismantle the barriers that hinder our progress and also work towards a future where every woman can realize her full potential. And as we celebrate this Pan-African Women's Day, let us remember that women are indeed the backbone of our struggle. And in every corner of Africa, where there is resistance to oppression, there are women who are leading the change and also inspiring others and calling for justice. So let us honor their contributions, let us amplify their voices, and commit ourselves to the work ahead. So thanks to every woman who is listening now and every woman who is going to listen to this recording and every woman who is outside there for your dedication to this cause. And I look forward to engaging with all of you as we strive for a very just and equitable future for all women in South Sudan, and also across Africa and the whole world. Because together we can forge a path towards our liberation and also empowerment that honors the legacy of those who came before us and paves the way for the generations to come. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Emma. That was great. We are really grateful to have you here, and you are paving the way in South Sudan and for women all across Africa and the diaspora. So thank you so much. We are now going to transition into the Q&A portion of this panel. And for both Emma and Mariatu, we would like to know what are some current events happening in your area, where you are, that women are struggling against and for.
Oui, merci beaucoup. Aujourd'hui encore, nous sommes en train de lutter, de continuer la lutte contre l'impérialisme. Et particulièrement au Niger où les femmes se sont mises devant la lutte pour, en tout cas, prendre toutes les responsabilités et venir à bout de l'impérialisme. Et nous sommes dans une communauté AES, et aussi bien au Mali comme au Burkina Faso et au Niger, les femmes sont debout. Les femmes sont restées dans la lutte pour aussi bien réclamer leur place, pour qu'on puisse entendre. Vous savez, surtout au Mali ou au Niger, c'est à 99% des musulmans, où il y a des stéréotypes et aussi il y a, excusez-moi, il y a des stéréotypes qui continuent à empêcher le développement des femmes. Au Niger, par exemple, les femmes sont mises en réseau, en une plateforme unique pour lutter contre stéréotypes, lutter contre l'impérialisme, demander que leur voix porte partout où les femmes sont. Nous avons travaillé très longtemps sur des stratégies pour pouvoir être entendues. Avant, il n'y avait pas de femmes dans les sphères de décision. Et avec les femmes engagées et les autres structures des femmes, nous avons lutté jusqu'à ce qu'on nous ait octroyé des quotas pour pouvoir participer et dans les cadres de décision, porter nos voix. Par exemple, même tout dernièrement, nous avons au Niger mis en place le conseil consultatif pour la refondation. Et au niveau de ce conseil consultatif, au niveau de la direction, nous avons 2 vice-présidentes et même au sein de l'institution, nous avons 19% de femmes qui sont là pour défendre les droits des femmes, porter haut le flambeau des femmes, surtout en ce qui concerne la lutte contre l'impérialisme. Aujourd'hui, nous avons des zones où le terrorisme est en train d'empêcher aux populations de rester faire leur culture. Nous avons des déplacés internes où il y a beaucoup de femmes. Et ce terrorisme, c'est les impérialistes qui envoient des armes à nos frères, parce que nous ne faisons pas, nous ne fabriquons pas des armes, nous ne fabriquons pas des munitions. Mais chaque fois, on se retrouve avec les armes les plus sophistiquées. Et dans ces zones, les femmes se battent chaque jour pour survivre. Il y a des déplacés où c'est carrément les femmes et les enfants, où des écoles sont fermées. Et les femmes continuent à se battre pour maintenir leurs enfants à l'école, pour survivre et faire vivre la famille, parce que les hommes, où tu rejoins les terroristes, où on vient te trouver à la maison pour te tuer. Bien sûr, nos forces de défense et de sécurité sont en train d'éradiquer ça, mais ça reste encore. Et dans ces zones, il y a beaucoup de femmes qui sont là, debout, qui essaient de sensibiliser leurs sœurs femmes pour que on puisse, parce que vous savez, les ennemis à l'extérieur qui nous attaquent sont là, mais ce qui est le plus mal, qui fait le plus mal, c'est les ennemis de l'intérieur, c'est les vendus, les traîtres qui sont avec nous et qui continuent à donner des informations aux autres, aux impérialistes, à travers des réseaux que nous cherchons à combattre. Et aussi la désinformation. Ce que nous voulons aujourd'hui, c'est d'appuyer ces femmes, surtout qui sont dans ces zones où le terrorisme continue à faire du mal, continue à tuer, continue à empêcher les femmes et les jeunes de vivre. Chaque jour que Dieu fait, il y a des villages qui sont déplacés. Nos forces de défense ont mutualisé leurs efforts sur les terrains du théâtre, mais il y a beaucoup de poches, beaucoup reste à faire. Ils ont fait, ils sont en train de gagner le terrain, mais il y a les femmes qui souffrent et nous devons être aussi avec ces femmes. Nous devons être de cœur avec ces femmes et les appuyer pour qu'ils puissent un jour aussi vivre heureuses comme les autres. Donc, je reste en tout cas ouverte pour continuer à répondre aux questions s'il y en a encore. Merci.
Thank you so much, Madam Mariatu. I really appreciate the clarity of the terrorists are the imperialists and the context around how the closing of schools moves people into, or young people into these terrorist groups. So thank you so much. Comrade Emma, would you like to answer this question as well about current events in South Sudan?
Thank you once again. I didn't tell you I couldn't be on camera. So currently in South Sudan, with all these economic crises and conflicts in some other areas, also climate issues in South Sudan, which has affected so many. And most especially conflict, whenever it happens, it mostly affects the children and the women. So many people left their homes because of climate change, flooding issues in some part of the country, that is in the Unity State and also in Jonglei states. So many people left their homes because of that. And moving out from your homes, trying to find shelter, trying to find a place to sit. There are so many things that happens. So many women and girls become victims of harassment, and also victims of sexual gender-based violence like rape and so forth. And also all these conflict happening in South Sudan also affects the women in the country. There are so many issues of rape, issues of girls who, like I said earlier, limited education because of the economic crisis, and also lack of empowerment. You find so many girls, others go to school, yes, because people go to school. We have government schools and private schools, and the government schools are like cheaper. Others get scholarships, but these are good, like people who have good performances. So you find girls go to schools, but they really don't understand, and they really don't know what else they can do for their lives. So that is why for us as Banat Power, we always look into trying to see, we envision a society where girls are influential and girls can be able to reach to their goals, because we believe that men alone uh, will not be able to do it. But we can't be women who are just housewives, or we can't just be women who are just waiting for what to be told, but being a woman that can be able to support, because we believe that women also have the power. As we've seen, from we have women leaders, we have presidents. For us in South Sudan, our speaker of the parliament is a woman, and we have different women in different ministries, and they are ministers. And we have two vice presidents that are women. So we've seen how women can be able to create change. That And for us to reach there, we need to empower the young generations. That is why we felt it is very important for us to empower the girls, because there are so many issues, so many challenges that happens, issues of child marriages, because of poverty. Because as a family, if I have girls, because girls are seen as money, they are seen as cows, because we marry with cows. And then you find uh like a cow now is, I don't know how, it's very expensive. And then you find uh, a lady is married with like 300 cows. So family sees as a way of getting money and wealth and all. So these are the things that is happening in South Sudan. But as I said, there are so many women who are trying and looking to empower this generation, and they are struggling to see the change that we want to see. That is through pushing for policies that helps women, or policies that shifts. Because now we have it is something that we are trying to work on now in South Sudan. Our penal code, in section 37, it says that as a woman, no, it says that any case of marital dispute, like for example, if you're married and you had sex with your husband, you don't have a, because we have these issues of marital rape and all this. And then the penal code did not say anything about that. It says that if you're married, then it is not a crime or it is not anything. But you find so many people who are assaulted, or so many people women who they feel they don't want to have that, but then their spouses forces them to do it. So this is something that we are now trying to look into, trying to push for policies that can help women, or that can be in favor of women as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. It's devastating to hear about how women are struggling in child marriages, especially younger women. We appreciate you sharing that, and how your initiative is pushing to fight against that. We are going to move to another question. And this question is, how, as Pan-African women, do we work to contend with the misogyny that we face from our male comrades and holding them accountable while continuing to work with them toward our ultimate goal of liberation for our people? And both panelists can answer this question.
Merci. Et je peux, non?
Oui.
Oui, merci. Moi, je pense que pour travailler avec nos frères, c'est même l'idéal, parce qu'aujourd'hui, les violences basées sur les genres, quand on en vient à ça, il faut impliquer les hommes. Le genre, c'est les femmes et les hommes. C'est les deux sexes. Donc, il faut les impliquer dans tout ce que nous faisons. Par exemple, je vous donne l'exemple du Niger, où il y a l'école des maris. L'école des maris, c'est là où on vient, on échange avec les hommes sur des stratégies qu'on peut mettre en place pour que les droits des femmes puissent être accordés. Et c'est même ces hommes qui nous donnent beaucoup, chaque fois lors des réunions, c'est ces hommes qui donnent des propositions. Donc, on ne peut pas lutter en marche différemment. Nous sommes ensemble. Nous sommes le même peuple. Nous sommes des frères et des sœurs. Donc, en tant que mère, en tant que sœur, nous devons les impliquer. Et dès l'éducation, dès le bas âge, on doit faire en sorte que tes enfants, filles et garçons, puissent s'entendre et cheminer ensemble. Aujourd'hui, ce qui a le plus marché chez nous, c'est surtout l'école des maris et la FADA. La FADA aussi des jeunes filles et des jeunes garçons, où on implique tout le monde. Il y a eu un projet où c'était juste les jeunes filles qu'on essaie pendant les vacances d'entraîner, de les apprendre à faire des petits métiers. Et là, il y a un des chefs de village qui dit, ah, vous laissez les jeunes garçons, alors qu'est-ce que vous pensez? Ces jeunes-là, ils seront rapidement récupérés dans le terrorisme. Alors que si vous les mettez ensemble, vous les formez ensemble, c'est la jeunesse qui va grandir ensemble, et au-delà, c'est la génération future. Ils vont nous remplacer et ils vont comprendre réellement les problèmes de femmes et le prendre en charge, les aider à être au même niveau. Et je pense que c'est des cas que nous avons eus, des cas concrets au Niger, qui peuvent être des cas d'école. Au Niger, on a une loi. Parce qu'avant, comme je l'ai dit, les femmes n'étaient vraiment pas dans les sphères de décision, mais nous sommes arrivés à avoir une loi sur le quota. Et cette loi sur le quota dit que pour les les postes de décision, les postes les postes d'affectation, il faut 30% des femmes. Et pour les postes électifs, il faut 25% des femmes, bon, l'un ou l'autre sexe. Et ça a amené le fait que, parce que le sexe le plus faible, c'est la femme qui, mais chaque fois on dit que la pauvreté a le visage de la femme et ça a handicapé, ça fait en sorte que les femmes, on n'a pas assez de femmes qui ont étudié. Mais aujourd'hui, on est en train de changer avec les stratégies, la tendance, parce que dès le bas âge, on est en train de faire des parrainages de jeunes filles pour qu'elles puissent accéder au haut niveau. Et aujourd'hui, nous avons de plus en plus de femmes dans les hautes sphères de décision. Et pour moi, ce que nous devons faire, c'est vraiment continuer à faire l'école des maris où c'est eux qui soutiennent les femmes pour arriver à des postes de décision, pour arriver à faire des espaces libres où les femmes et les hommes viennent pour discuter librement et trouver des propositions concrètes. Et même au niveau de l'accès des femmes à la terre. Avant, chez nous, la femme n'a pas droit à la terre. Mais aujourd'hui, avec l'école des maris et avec les associations, nous sommes arrivés à avoir des résultats concrets où les femmes sont aujourd'hui des propriétaires terriens. Et même dans la loi de notre pays, on a dit quand il y a des espaces aménagés, 30% doit revenir aux femmes. Donc, je pense que on doit être ensemble et continuer à cheminer. Les hommes sont nos frères, ils sont nos maris, ils sont nos enfants et il faut, dès le bas âge, continuer, inclure ça dans l'éducation. Merci.
Thank you, Madam Mariatu. Thank you. Comrade Emma, I'm going to repeat the question for you, and then if you could keep your response brief to 2 minutes, we will close out after that. So the question is, how, as Pan-African women, do we work to contend with the misogyny that we face from our male comrades and holding them accountable while continuing to work with them toward our ultimate goal of liberation for our people?
Thank you so much. So as Pan-African women, working with men, because as Comrade has already stressed that for us, men are our allies, as we see them as our allies, and working together with them is the best that we can do because every time I talk to my girls or every time I talked, and we always say that as women, we need the men. And whenever we're talking about issues of women, because most of the things that happen, men are involved. So if we don't involve them or they don't understand what we go through or they don't understand what we want as women, then it's going to be very hard. For us, we've worked with men who also have seen or beyond just the gender. Men as allies.
Emma, were you done speaking? I believe your mic is now muted. Okay. Well, we will have to move on unless Emma can come on. to wrap up. Well, all right. Well, we want to thank both Madam Mariatu and Emma for being here. We have learned so much about...
Mais j'ai un dernier mot à placer quand même, c'est quand même de remercier sincèrement les organisateurs de cette plateforme, de cette conférence, qui nous a permis d'échanger, de dire ce qui se passe dans nos pays réellement. Je vous remercie sincèrement et aussi profiter pour lancer un appel pour que vraiment vous qui êtes de la diaspora, continuez à nous inviter sur ces plateformes pour venir échanger. Et ça a été un cadre bénéfique pour moi parce que j'ai eu l'expérience des autres pays, le Soudan et les autres pays, c'est important. Je peux l'implémenter, ce que j'ai entendu des autres, l'implémenter chez moi. Et dernièrement, ce que je voulais dire, on a construit, on a cotisé pour construire 2 classes pour des jeunes enfants. C'est ce que nous pouvons, nos moyens, nous les avons mis. Mais nous avons besoin de l'aide de tout un chacun pour pouvoir le construire au moins 2 toilettes. Parce que c'est à ce niveau, il n'y a pas de toilettes. Les enfants doivent aller loin pour aller faire leurs besoins. Si on peut leur trouver ces 2 toilettes à faire, ça serait génial. Et c'est mon dernier mot que je voudrais vraiment lancer à votre endroit. Merci beaucoup à vous.
Thank you so much, Madam Mariatu, and again, Emma Kwaje, for being here. This concludes our panel, but if you would like to add any more information about your organizations, please do so in the chat so we can continue to support your work, support and uplift your work. And I will now pass it over to Hannah, Dr. Hannah, for the cultural performance.
Thank you very much, Daria, for leading us through that session. It was quite insightful, and for me, just Madame Mariatu had actually ended with a call for support, and I think that's why we're here as women, and to basically hear what is happening in other areas, and we can know how we can be able to support each other through the struggle, because together we can go a mile, more than a mile actually instead. Right now, it's my pleasure to introduce Amina Love, who is a classically trained Chicago-based independent artist with a range of musical influences such as Paramore, Liana, La Havas, and Ella Fatizgad. Her alternative sound is a fusion of punk and soul sprinkled with the American influences of her upbringing. Love has opened for artists such as Guapele and Mwamona Yusuf, and it's a pleasure for us to have her here to celebrate with us Pan-African Women's Day.
Black girl, black girl, wear your magic hat. Black girl,
little black girl, who are you to be smart and creative too? They say stay in your lane, you can reach the same heights that other people do. Be this, be that, don't try to be something that you're really not. But they miss one fact, the whole world wants the gift that you got. So you don't have to try so hard to be like them. The wonder that lives in your heart, the magic in your skin. Every day you change the game, pioneer a different trend. Make the people say your name, see the fire that's within. When you wear it, your magic. Don't explain it, don't compromise. Oh, when you wear it, your magic. No one sees the world through your eyes. Black girl, black girl, black girl, where you at, child? Black girl, where you at, child? Black girl, where you at, child? Black girl, black.
Thank you very much, Amina Love. So we are supposed to be going on to the next panel, but we lost Emma just right before we went to close, and would like to give her about a minute to do her closing remarks. So Emma, if you're there, please go right on and speak.
Thank you so much. So as I was saying, in our journey towards empowerment and equality, it is very essential and it's very important for us to recognize the importance of engaging men as our allies in our struggle, because men have a very crucial role to play in dismantling the patriarchal structures and also advocating for gender equality. Because in like for us in South Sudan, there are so many parties and all, and most women are the women who are there, they're only just there, but top leadership are men. So by fostering a very open dialogues and also encouraging men to challenge these harmful stereotypes and also the behaviors, we can create a more inclusive movement together. We can also build a society where both men and women share responsibilities for promoting justice and also equity, ensuring that our struggle and our fight is truly collective. So at Banaet Power Initiative, we recognize that empowering girls and young women, it requires a very holistic approach. So we've been doing mentorship program that is designed not only to provide education, but also to nurture essential life skills that encourage girls and young women in South Sudan. That is through creative expression, building self-esteem, leadership skills, and through our mentorship program, we connect young women with experienced mentors who guide them in various areas of both personal and also professional development. And we focus on life skills that are very crucial for navigating our everyday challenges, such as effective communication, leadership, decision making, and also financial literacy. These competencies empower our mentees to take charge of their lives and also to contribute positively to their communities. We believe that creative expression is also another cornerstone of our program, and we encourage participants to explore their artistic talents, That is, and also we have others who write songs, and now they write poems. They use those creative ways to express their voices. And this creative outlet, it does not only foster self-expression, but it also allows them to share their stories and also their perspectives, that is helping to reshape the narratives around women in our society. And helping the women, because so many girls, because of the cultural norms and also the stereotypes that you're just a girl and you cannot be able to say anything, you cannot decide for yourself, they decide for you. Even in meetings or in community programs, you don't have the voice. So we help girls to recognize their values and to build their self, because through these cultural norms, so many girls have lost their self-esteem. So we, through building self-esteem, it is very vital in helping young women to recognize their worth and also their potential. We engage in
Okay.
yes. So
Yeah.
together, as we celebrate this Pan-African Women's Day, let us remember that our struggle is interconnected, and then the strength of our movement, it lies in our unity. And women and men standing together, advocating for a just and equitable future, it is very important for us. Thank you
Sure.
all for your commitment, and I look
Thank
forward
you.
to collaborating with all of you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Emma. And right on to our next panel, which I think just ties right into what our former panelists were talking about, activating women to join the movement. Over to you, FIFA May.
Dear Pan-African women, dear participants, I'm FIFA May, residing in Ghana. Adoko Kofi Mbuyen Khanzat Bibiko is my circle. Theme for panel 2 is activating women to join the movement. Ashlyn Gina, the first panelist, is from Communist Party Marxist Kenya, the Revolutionary Women's League. Our second panelist is Jocelyn Goy from Youth League of the People's Party for Reconstruction and Democracy of the Congo. Ashlyn Gina, welcome. Please proceed with your introduction. Thank you.
Hello, greetings, comrades. Thank you so much, Comrade FIFA. My name is Ajambo Ashlyn, and I am happy to be here. So I am a member of the Communist Party Marxist Kenya, and also a member of the Revolutionary Women's League, which is a mass organization, one of the mass organizations of the party. So I'd like to begin by sharing statements from the Revolutionary Women's League in commemorating Pan-African Women's Day 2025. So on this occasion of Pan-African Women's Day 2025, Revolutionary Women's League of the CPMK extends proletarian greetings and unwavering solidarity to the working class women of Africa and the world. Today, we do not gather for symbolic celebration, we gather to honor a living history of struggle, sacrifice, and unrelenting resistance by oppressed African women who for centuries have stood at the forefront of revolution, the fearless militants of the continent who from the days of colonial conquest to the contemporary fight against neocolonial oppression have stood as a beacon of resistance and intellectual awakening in the fight against imperialism. We recognize that the masses of our people make history, but they do not make it as they please. They do not make it under self-selected circumstances, but under circumstances existing already and transmitted from the past. So history is not made by ideas alone. It is made by the masses of our people, by a class force in struggle. And this class force has always included working class and peasants women, the often unrecognized backbone of the anti-federal, anti-capitalist, and anti-imperialist resistance. From the barefoot resistance of peasant women in Mau Mau war zones to the urban militancy of domestic workers, market and informal laborers, to the political cadres who are organized, armed, and educated, African women have been part of the living engine of our liberation. Comrades, we say today without hesitation, the liberation of women is not a side issue. It is not a gender project or a separatist campaign. It is a revolutionary task. A people cannot be free while half of its population remains in chains. As Comrade Thomas Sankara warned, there is no true revolution without the liberation of women. On Pan-Africanism, we say that Pan-Africanism is not just an idealistic dream of the African unity. It is a revolutionary praxis, a weapon in our fight against imperialism and neocolonialism. As the RWL, Pan-Africanism must evolve into a mass-based political and economic struggle rooted in scientific socialism. It is through this lens that we must approach the fight for a united socialist Africa. Our goal is to build a future where our resources are used for the benefits of the many, not for the enrichment of the capitalist elites or foreign powers. The historic neglect or sidelining of women and the marginalized genders within Pan-Africanist historiography is not just an omission, it is an ideological error, one rooted in bourgeoisie feminism and patriarchal distortion of our struggle. So let us reclaim the true history. Let us honor the memory of our fallen heroines who resisted colonialism with armed resistance, pursuing genuine economic transformation, ensuring that land and resources are placed in the hands of the working class and the oppressed. Let us invoke the militancy and vibrancy of the Pan-African women leaders, thinkers, and organizers of the peasantry, working and oppressed women. Let us remember the unnamed women who cooked for the revolutionaries, hid weapons under their garment, raised consciousness in whispers and in songs, and paid a heavy price with their lives. Let us salute the women of Sudan, Congo, Kenya, Western Sahara, Palestine, and everywhere else who even today, in the face of aggression and state terror, have stood firmly organizing, resisting, and defending the gains of the people because they understand their condition is political and the political is revolutionary. On the enemy of our people, the primary contradiction in Africa today remains the contradiction between the working masses and the imperialist domination, mediated through local, compound, and bureaucratic regimes. Women, particularly working class and peasantry women, suffer the heaviest burdens. Land dispossession, gender-based violence, unemployment, informal labor exploitation, and the unpaid labor of social reproduction. In Kenya, Haiti, Senegal, South Africa, Sudan, Congo, and many more new colonies, the IMF, the World Bank, and the transnational capital continue to dictate national policies, slashing social spending, privatizing key public services, and criminalizing dissent. And who is left to carry the burden? It is the woman, a back that cries the cost of privatized services, a womb that births children into hunger, and a body that is brutalized when she protests. And internationalism, our struggle does not stop in Kenya. Our fight is not only African, it is international. As Mwalimu Nyerere once said, an African is anyone who participates in the shared struggles of Africa. So too is a comrade, any woman, African, Cuban, Palestinian, Iranian, who fights for human liberation. We stand with the revolutionary women of Cuba, whose socialist project in the face of criminal blockades and sanctions has never abandoned the international duty. Haitian women who continue to defend their sovereignty with arms and now serve humanity with their defiance. Palestinian mothers raising their children under the apartheid Zionist occupation while burying them under the rubber. Sudanese women whose bodies and land are ravaged in the ongoing imperialism wars, yet whose spirits remain unbroken. The mothers of Congo, whose land have been stolen to mine cobalt for Western profit and yet continue to resist. So we continue to champion for women. The liberation of women is the liberation of the working class. Pan-Africanism is socialism or it's nothing. So let every workshop become a school of class-conscious theory. Let every market become a cell of political organizing. Let every oppressed woman know your place is not behind the men, but at the front lines of history. Until the oppressed woman is free, none of us is free. Until the Kenyan woman is free, the nation is enslaved. Down with imperialism, long live all oppressed. So with that, comrades, yeah, I say thank you for giving me the chance to do my introduction. Thank you so much for your.
Thank you very much, Ashley, for this great presentation. We have a few questions for you. How can we intensify political ideological coordination to establish mass structures for African women in Africa and the diaspora?
Comrade, could you come up again? How can we intensify?
So how can we intensify political ideological coordination to establish mass structures for African women in Africa and the diaspora?
Thank you so much, Comrade FIFA. First, allow me start by doing like a brief introduction of my organization so that I can explain. So the Communist Party Marxist Kenya stands as a vanguard of the working people, embodying the collective voice of the Kenyan workers, peasants, youth, students, and all the marginalized groups in the country. And we forge in the fights of mass struggle. And our party is committed to dismantling the exploitative, semi-federal and capitalist structures and establishing a just, equitable society, a socialist system that fulfills the aspiration of the Kenyan people. And having talked about CPMK, so it means that CPMK has a clear ideological, political, and organizational line. So we are guided by the living science of Marxism-Leninism. So that in itself is our ideology. And we apply its principles to the unique historical, cultural, and social context of Kenya. So our ideological line is ML, and our organizational line is mainly rooted in democratic centralism, which means that we ensure unity in decision-making and action while fostering active participation of our membership, including women. And then lastly, it's our political line. And our political line, we call it the theory of two-stage revolution, because now we cannot get to socialism or to communism just like that. So it has phases that we need to mitigate. And the first one we call it the National Democratic Revolution. And I have gone into explaining this so as to bring you back to what we do as the RWL. So the RWL, like I said before, is a mass organization of the party. And we understand that the oppression of women, whether in domestic labor or workforce, is rooted in the class contradiction of capitalism. And this exploitation cannot just be dismantled by reforms alone, or only through, but we understand that only through socialism will the working class women and also the working class as a whole achieve true emancipation. So our league mainly is a fighting organization of women's political engagement committed to mass mobilization and ideological education. And we reject the illusion that women's oppression can be solved within the capitalist logic. We draw inspiration from revolutionary women's organization in history who demonstrated that women's liberation requires both political struggle and collective action. So the path ahead demands vigilance against a number of things, including liberalism or liberal feminism, which only seeks to integrate women into capitalist hierarchies, because we don't want just to be included. We want to feel as human beings in the society. We don't just want to be treated as properties or agenda of its own. So it's like I said, it's not a gender separatism. It is a guiding principle of making sure that our women take part in these struggles. So how do we intensify political and ideological education, both I think regionally and internationally? Number one, I think it's important to have more progressive and revolutionary organizations coming up, which are not merely separate organization of only sectorial struggles of women grievances. And this organization need to train women to lead ideological struggle against postmodernism, liberalism, and other reactionary currents we have. Because when you look at Kenya, let me use Kenya, because Kenya, what we are battling with at large is the purification of NGOs that mainly separate the material conditions of our women from the root causes. So instead of treating the gender, sorry, the women challenges.
Probably Ashley has some internet issues.
Hello.
Therefore, we will proceed to.
Hello.
Yes, you can go ahead, Ashlyn. Sorry about that.
Sorry. Sorry, comrades. Maybe I should put off my video so that you don't lose me again.
Either way is fine. We can
Okay.
hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay, great.
Please, Nkoi, Geoffrey, introduce yourself. Thank you.
Sorry, comrades, is Comrade FIFA speaking?
No, she's muted now. Sorry for
okay,
that.
okay, great. So, like I was saying, yeah, one of the challenges that we are facing currently is having a few kind of, let me call them short-term campaigns to separate.
Here with us, but her video.
Separate the problems of like the issues that are weighing on women from the actual primary struggle. So if we have more organizations that train women to lead ideological struggle against postmodernism, liberal feminism, and other reactionary currents, we're able to advance. Then also we need to mobilize women in factories, informal sectors, and farms to demand for better working conditions, maternity rights, and child care support. We cannot separate ourselves from these, let me call them legal struggles that women forge, because them in itself are part and parcel of the broader class struggle. So once we are able to exist among them as revolutionaries, as socialists, as communists, were able to, be part of the driving force of struggles that will actually culminate to the class warfare. Then it's important to build class solidarity by uniting working men and women against their common enemy, which is capitalism and neocolonialism, and also, which now are oligarchy to patriarchy. So, like Comrade Emma said, the fight is not only for women. So we don't want to be united on the sisterhood fallacy of just saying that because this is a woman issue, let's deal with it as a woman issue. But it's important for us to understand that for us to advance as women, or for us to mitigate the challenges, also the working class and oppressed men need to be part and parcel of these struggles. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jocelyn. Thank you very much, Ashlyn. We would like to introduce Jocelyn Ngoi. So kindly introduce yourself. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Parti de la Ligue des jeunes du peuple, Parti du peuple pour la reconstruction et la démocratie, parti cher à son excellence Joseph Kabila Kabange, ancien président de la République démocratique du Congo. Et je suis responsable du département développement rural de Young Women of Africa. Sincère remerciement aux camarades du Parti révolutionnaire des peuples africains pour cette invitation comme panéliste à l'occasion de la Journée internationale de la femme africaine. Sans plus tarder, je veux vous présenter mon exposé. Chers camarades, leaders et militants africanistes, je me tiens devant vous aujourd'hui, le cœur rempli d'une gratitude immense et d'une conviction profonde. Nous sommes rassemblés pour parler de notre lutte panafricaine, une lutte noble et nécessaire pour la libération, l'unité et la dignité de notre continent. Mais comment pourrions-nous aborder ce sujet sans reconnaître et célébrer celles qui en sont, sans conteste, le véritable pilier? Je parle de femmes africaines. Ces leaders politiques et sociaux, mobilisatrices des masses, militantes, combattantes, qui ont participé activement à la lutte pour l'indépendance du continent africain, à la promotion de la solidarité et l'unité africaine. Pensons aux figures emblématiques du panafricanisme, telles que Yaa Asantewaa, reine du peuple Ashanti, qui a mené son peuple contre les Britanniques en 1900. Jeanne Martine Sisay, militante panafricaine et première femme présidente du Conseil de sécurité de l'ONU en 1972. Miriam Makeba, appelée Mame Africa, qui a mené la lutte contre l'apartheid en Afrique du Sud entre les années 60 et 90. Aujourd'hui, leur rôle est tout aussi crucial. Dans nos villages, ce sont les femmes qui maintiennent les communautés, transmettent notre culture et nos valeurs aux jeunes générations. Dans nos villes, ce sont elles qui dirigent des entreprises, innovent et luttent pour la justice sociale et économique. Ce sont elles qui, souvent dans l'ombre, travaillent sans relâche pour l'éducation, la santé et le bien-être de tous. Mais leur contribution va au-delà de la sphère domestique ou économique. Les femmes africaines sont les gardiennes de notre mémoire, les conteuses de nos histoires, celles qui s'assurent que nous n'oublions jamais d'où nous venons et où nous allons. Notre lutte panafricaine n'est pas seulement une question de politique ou d'économie, c'est une question de dignité humaine, de justice et de reconnaissance. Et dans cette quête, les voix des femmes sont indispensables. Leurs perspectives, leur expérience, leur vision sont essentielles pour construire un panafricanisme inclusif, juste et véritablement libérateur. Chers camarades, le panafricanisme ne peut pas avancer dans la pleine participation et le leadership des femmes. Et sans la pleine participation et le leadership des femmes. Elles sont la résilience, la sagesse, la force silencieuse et souvent non reconnue qui nous pousse vers l'avant. Alors, en ce jour, rendons hommage à ces héroïnes passées et présentes. Reconnaissons-le, célébrons-le et surtout travaillons main dans la main. Car, oui, les femmes sont et resteront l'épine dorsale de notre lutte panafricaine. Levons-nous ensemble, hommes et femmes, pour un continent africain uni, prospère et libre. Vive l'Afrique! Bonne fête à tous. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Jocelyn. We have some few questions for you as well. And it's as follows. How do we eradicate marginalized gender oppression in Africa and the world? How do we eradicate marginalized gender oppression in Africa and the world?
S'il vous plaît, j'étais un peu distraite. Possible de reprendre la question? S'il vous plaît.
How do we eradicate marginalized gender oppression in Africa and the world?
La marginalisation du genre. Je crois que c'est ce que j'ai entendu. Merci beaucoup pour la question. Parce que là, ma connexion dérange un peu. J'espère que je serai bien saisie. Personnellement, je suis leader des jeunes. Je suis président de la Ligue des jeunes d'un parti révolutionnaire. Et en plus, je suis dans le mouvement Young Women of Africa. Moi, je pense d'abord à sensibiliser les jeunes femmes, parce que en tant qu'actrice politique, dans mon pays, par exemple, les femmes s'intéressaient c'est à peine que les femmes s'intéressent à la politique même. Parce que avant, les femmes pensaient que la politique, c'était plus pour les hommes. Mais plus les femmes vont s'intéresser à la politique, plus les femmes vont s'intéresser à ces mouvements des activistes pour défendre leurs droits, plus les femmes seront nombreuses dans les instances de prise des décisions. Ils vont imposer leurs lois, ils seront capables de... Allô, j'espère que je suis suivie, ma connexion a coupé. Plus les femmes, je disais que plus les femmes seront nombreuses dans les instances de prise des décisions, ils vont booster ce mouvement, ils vont aider à stopper l'oppression, ils vont sensibiliser, ils vont motiver d'autres femmes à contribuer à la lutte contre l'oppression sur les gens. Je suis un peu dérangée par ma connexion. Je pourrais revenir dès que possible. Mes excuses.
Okay, thank you, Madam Jocelyn. We have a last question for you. How can we help link women's struggle? How can we help link women's struggles in your country with effort in other countries and educational work?
Oui, dans mon pays, il y a d'abord un grand problème. Mon pays souffre d'une guerre à l'est de la République démocratique du Congo. Ça va faire plus de 30 ans. Une guerre économique où les impérialistes, où les grandes puissances nous imposent une guerre pour l'exploitation illégale de nos ressources minières. Mais dans cette guerre, malheureusement, c'est les femmes qui sont les plus grandes victimes. Parce que il y a des familles entières qui sont détruites. Les femmes sont victimes parce que l'arme utilisée par nos agresseurs, c'est les violences sexuelles. Et les femmes sont détruites physiquement et sont détruites mentalement. Dans cette guerre, ils sont exposés à des maladies. Notre aide, l'aide, par exemple, des organismes ou des mouvements de lutte panafricaine, ça sera plus dans des grandes instances, dans l'Union africaine, dans la SADC, l'EAC, nous aider à mettre fin à cette guerre qui nous est injustement imposée parce que les grandes puissances veulent bien exploiter illégalement nos ressources, mais ils utilisent nos voisins directs, parce que la RDC a 9 pays voisins, mais nos voisins de l'Est contribuent à cette guerre, et puis cette guerre détruit les familles et les femmes sont très exposées. Notre aide ou l'aide de nos camarades panafricains, ça sera de porter notre voix dans les instances de prise des décisions, dans les grands organismes comme l'Union africaine, la SADC. Je crois que ça sera une aide efficace pour les femmes de la RDC. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Madam Jocelyn. Thank you, Jocelyn. Our last question for you is, what are some of the achievements of African women since colonization? What are some of the achievements of African women since colonization?
Pardon, possible de reprendre la question.
What are some of the achievements of African women since colonization?
Le plus grand succès, je dirais que les femmes ont joué un grand rôle dans la colonisation parce qu'ils ont sensibilisé en tant que leader des masses, en tant que mobilisatrice des masses, en tant qu'éducatrice, ils ont réussi à passer le message dans nos villages, dans nos villes, à sensibiliser, à motiver la masse pour mettre fin à la colonisation, pour faire passer le message, pour que le peuple comprenne que nous devons sortir de l'esclavagisme des impérialistes. Dans mon pays, par exemple, nos pères fondateurs, le père de l'indépendance, à l'instar du camarade Lumumba, il a été accompagné par des vaillantes femmes qui l'ont aidé. C'est vrai qu'il y a beaucoup qui ont perdu leur vie, mais après les années 60, nous avons vu que la lutte de ces femmes qui ont accompagné le père fondateur a payé. Aujourd'hui, bon, c'est vrai que nous subissons encore, la lutte n'est pas finie, mais au moins, nous avons un côté positif. les populations ont compris qu'il fallait que des grandes femmes se lèvent en tant qu'éducatrices, en tant que formatrices pour faire passer le message à la population. Merci.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your presentation, Jocelyn. We appreciate you. Dear Pan-African women, thank you. Enjoy your time.
Hello. Hello, Comrade FIFA.
Okay. Okay, comrades, thank you so much. Ashlyn, did you want to say one more thing just to close out? Any closing remarks quickly, and then we'll pass it over to Comrade Jamila.
Okay. Thank you so much. I wanted to speak briefly on the question on how can we eradicate forgetting marginalized gender oppression in Africa. Is it okay? Quickly, then I'll do the closing remarks.
Yes, that is perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to say that it's important that even as we have women's organizations which are anti-capitalist and anti-imperialist, I think they need to be anchored on vanguard organizations so as to enable them to make decisive strides in confronting and transforming the deep-rooted misogynistic and anti-queer attitude inherited from our semi-federal, neo-colonial social formations that we live within. Because for us here in Kenya, yes, we have a very backward society, and we recognize that when comrades or recruits join the party, they come from this backward society, which is steeped in patriarchal customs, colonial morality, religious dogma, and a capitalist culture that divides and degrades certain genders. But now we don't aim at having or demand perfection from comrades, but we demand their commitment to actually transform themselves first through struggle. So I think through consistent ideological education, political work, and militant discipline, we're able to, uproot these oppressive ideas, attitudes, and values that we have. And in return, we are able to reciprocate this to the larger society. But the only way and the only means to completely eradicate this problem is through a socialist future. So even as we forge towards mitigating or getting solutions for the existing challenges, we also need to focus on building a socialist society which deals with the primary issue, which is class. And I feel once we deal with it, then we are able now to deal with the secondary issues. In conclusion, I'll say that I appreciate the All African Women's Revolutionary Union for having us on this platform in commemoration of the Pan-African Women's Day. And we hope that moving forward, we will forge unity, solidarity, and also interlink our struggles in an attempt to build a better world, not only for women, but also for all the marginalized genders and all the oppressed people. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us once again for our annual Pan-African Women's Day commemoration. We are grateful to all of our panelists, the Communist Party, Marxist Kenya Revolutionary Women's League, the Youth League of the People's Party for Reconstruction and Democracy in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Organized Women of FESPA in Niger, the Pan-African Women's Organization of Azania, and the Banat Power Initiative of South Sudan. We are also grateful to our cultural workers who took time to deliver a message of encouragement and enlightenment. And before I continue, yes, happy Pan-African Women's Day to all. As we've heard throughout the program and as we've seen throughout our lives, women have consistently been in the front lines of struggle. Whether it is community defense, whether it is program coordination, marching in the streets, or the coordination of ideological materials. As we have also seen, it is one thing to be on the front lines of struggle or to be considered the backbone of the struggle. It is another thing to be organized in the struggle for liberation. If, as Thomas Sankara once said, and many have reiterated, women hold up the other half of the sky, it can never be done effortlessly, effectively, or sustainably without the collective work of everyone in society. If only one half sees the light of day, the other half will be in eternal darkness. Appreciating or admiring the work women and those on the margins of gender identity and expression do in the struggle without contributing to the work increases both the emotional and physical labor it takes to hold that sky up. We in the All African Women's Revolutionary Union and the All African People's Revolutionary Party will always emphasize organization and political education as direct methods to march toward our objectives. As we exit this commemoration today, we must remember that it is not enough to organize amongst ourselves, though. We must build the relationships necessary to ensure the common understandings required to forge towards liberation. We must continue to not only engage in the fight against external contradictions, we must also understand that one of our biggest fights is internal. This work must be done every single day. As we close out our program today, we want to reiterate the great saying, organization decides everything. We wish you a wonderful rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world. Happy Pan-African Women's Day, and forward ever, backwards never.
Were you not aware? Oh,
day change the game, pioneer a different trend, make the people say your name and see the fire that's within. When you wear it, your magic. Don't explain and don't compromise. When you wear it, your magic. No one sees the world through your eyes. Black girl, black girl, black girl, where you met that? Black girl, where you met that? Black girl, where you met that? Black girl. They say, little black girl, who are you to be smart and creative too? They say, stay in your lane, you can reach the same heights that other people do. Be this, be that, don't try to be something that you're really not. But they miss one fact, the whole world wants the gift that you got. So you don't have to try so hard to be like them. The wonder that lives in your heart, the magic in your skin. Every day you change the game, pioneer a different trend, make the people say your name, see the fire that's within. When you wear it, your magic. Don't explain it, don't compromise. Oh, when you wear it, your magic. No one sees the world through your eyes. Black girl, black girl, black girl, where you met that? 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 Black girl, 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 black girl. So you don't have to try so hard to be like them. Wonder that lives in your heart, the magic in your skin. Every day change the game, pioneer a different trend, make the people say your name and see the fire that's within.
Yay! Thank you, thank you. Before we leave, we actually have one more solidarity message from Udemu. Udemu is the Democratic Women's Union of the PAIGC. The PAIGC is the African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde. So we have Comrade Odette Costa that will send this program out with a solidarity message. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day. Forward ever.
Okay. Good afternoon, all the people. But I go to speak in Portuguese, okay? And I go to speak about UDEMU, is the Democratic Union of the Human in Guiné-Bissau. Vou falar agora em português. Não sei se estão a ouvir. Alô?
Yes, you're
Yes,
here.
we can hear you. Go ahead.
Estão a ouvir-me? Allô?
Hello.
Est-ce que vous m'écoutez?
Oui, c'est bon. Nous écoutons.
Ok, je vais parler en portugais, pas de problème, parce qu'ils m'ont dit qu'il y a de traduction.
Oui.
Ça, c'est
Il y a
vrai?
des traducteurs.
Il y a des traductions ou pas?
Oui, il y a la traduction portugaise. Il y en a.
Ok. Comme ça, je vais parler en portugais. Ok?
Ok.
Antes de mais, eu quero cumprimentar a todos e a todas as participantes nesta comemoração do Dia da Mulher Africana. E para falar da UDEMU, que é uma organização panafricanista democrática das mulheres da Guiné-Bissau. É uma organização com mais de 60 anos, que teve na sua criação a nossa camarada Francisca Pereira, e mais tarde ingressaram na UDEMU a camarada Carmen Pereira, a camarada Teodora Inácia Gomes, a camarada Tetina Silá. A maioria dessas mulheres já não estão entre nós, salvo a Teodora Inácia Gomes. São mulheres panafricanistas que nessa organização tiveram um particular trabalho em defesa dos direitos da mulher guineense. A UDEMU foi criada a 18 de junho de 1961 por Amílcar Cabral, antes mesmo do início da luta armada. Teve como seu objetivo principal promover uma efetiva igualdade de direitos entre as mulheres e os homens, assim como a participação paritária nos órgãos de decisão, nos domínios da vida política, econômica, cultural e também social, com a sua intervenção na vida do partido. E queria dizer que num período em que o género não constava dentre os temas em voga nas teorias de desenvolvimento, na Guiné-Bissau, Amílcar Cabral já brilhava alto uma mulher, como a Carmen Pereira e a Francisca Pereira. A UDEMU lutou para que as mulheres tivessem espaço nas esferas de decisão, para que as mulheres participassem como deputadas da nação, para que as mulheres participassem como membros do governo, tanto governo local quanto governo a nível da própria governação estatal. E podemos destacar muito bem a figura de Francisca Pereira, que eu já aventei, que participou naquela primeira Conferência de Mulheres Africanas, que ocorreu em 62, na cidade de Dar es Salaam. Então, para dizer que a UDEMU tem sido um sustentáculo para as mulheres, trabalhando em várias vertentes, tanto na vertente da socialização das mulheres, como também no aspecto político, em levar as mulheres a terem a formação no âmbito político e nas várias áreas científicas, do saber, etc. Então, quando hoje falamos no Dia Internacional da Mulher, estamos a celebrar as mulheres que foram pioneiras, as mulheres que estiveram à frente na formação de outras mulheres mais jovens. Destaco aqui a figura de Francisca outra vez e de Carmen Pereira, que levaram para a antiga União Soviética mulheres para serem formadas nas várias áreas, sobretudo na área de enfermagem, de socorristas, na área de medicina, para poderem apoiar a luta de libertação. Hoje, o trabalho da UDEMU é a luta pela democracia, por uma cultura da paz e a luta por um país mais justo, que é a Guiné-Bissau, que neste momento atravessa um período de grandes dificuldades, um período em que podemos falar de uma falta de democracia. A democracia está sendo posta de lado Então, uma das lutas das mulheres é fazer vingar essa democracia, é lutar para que a cultura da paz seja abraçada não só por mulheres, mas por toda a população da Guiné-Bissau. E hoje a UDEMU é vista na Guiné-Bissau como a principal motora da ascensão de mulheres a nível da política. Portanto, eu gostaria de ficar ainda por aqui para ouvir também outras colegas. Espero que me tenham escutado. Espero que a minha voz tenha chegado a todas vocês que estão aqui conosco. Allô?
Thank you.
Allô? Vous avez m'écouté? En tout
Oui,
cas,
oui,
parce
merci.
que je sais pas.
Obrigado, camarada.
Le message est passé.